Today we're going to make my dad's Sonora Style Enchiladas. We're also going to make charro beans. So we're going to start out by putting the chorizo in the pot over here where we've got meat going. So we started out over here with about a pound of meat, of hamburger. And over here we've got about a quarter pound of hamburger. This is the charro beans. And we're going to put the chorizo in it, like so. And normally it's, it's about 8-10 ounces, depending on what size you get the chorizo in. So if you get the link kind, it's like usually 2 links. That's what I do. So while the meat is actually cooking, what we're going to do is we're going to cut up all of our veggies, which means I've already got over here, I was industrious this morning and cut up some olives and some jalapenos. I got some tomatoes here that we're going to cut up and do this. And then we're going to add, I think, sour cream. Maybe guacamole.
Say that again.
I said, so we've got tomato, we've got lettuce, we've got onion, we've got jalapenos, and we've got olives. Can y'all think of anything else that we might need? Okay, all right. So I'll get that out of the refrigerator in a minute. Meanwhile, I'm just going to cut up these tomatoes.
If I hit that.
Well, if you cut your finger off right now,
It's
it'd
gonna
probably
be...
go viral.
Welcome to my kitchen.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, so as you can see, what I've done is I put the chorizo and the hamburger together, and it makes into a nice grill. And before you drain it, you want to add your raw tomato, or your raw onions, because we want them cooked.
Okay.
And I usually put a couple of handfuls full, because the rest of them will go into the enchiladas. But so it ends up looking kind of like this, and you can see all the nice juicy flavor that's at the bottom. But that we will drain that off because a lot of that's fat, but it's also where all the spices are. Okay, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to leave it on the oven for a little while. Then we're going to throw it in the pinto beans. I haven't shown you those yet, but they're on the oven. So due to some technical difficulties, we're going to recap the charro beans really quickly. Basically, I took 2 cans of pinto beans and I drained them really, really well. And then I put the meat with the sausage and the onions into the charro beans. I added about half a can of Rotel tomatoes, an entire can of green chilies, and several glumps of chicken stock. That's my son's way of measuring. But anyway, if you take a look at it, this is what it's supposed to look like. And then we'll just leave it on a medium stove and let it just cook down while we make the rest of the enchiladas. Yay!
I know.
I like having my director, my agent here.
She'll cut you. This is all going on the cutting room floor.
Okay. Oh, back again. Okay, so we got set up to make the enchiladas at this point. While our charro beans are bubbling away, they really smell good. So what I normally do is I take the tortillas and I kind of apportion 3 tortillas per enchilada because they're stacked. And you can do more, you can do less, but at this time of my life, half of one of these is plenty for me to eat. So, but anyway, we leave them out so that they toughen up a little bit because they're really, really tender, and you're getting ready to fry them. So you're gonna want them to have a little bit more rough edge. Then we're getting set up over here. I've got cheese. It was so hard to have. I had to grate all of this cheese, and then I have my onions.
Okay.
And I have the hamburger meat that we made. Sometimes I'll actually spice that up a little bit, but I'm not for this because the people that are eating this are not big spice people. So over here what we've got is this is 2 cans of enchilada sauce. I did not make it myself, I buy it. So did my dad, so there you have it. So we're gonna heat that up right now and try to get that bubbly. And right here we have just a little bit of oil in a pan because we're gonna fry these tortillas in order to try to keep them together when we put them in the sauce. So we're going to do this, and I'm going to put a little water in there, and when the water pops, we'll be ready to start. Okay, here's what we're going to try to do. I'm going to try to make this easy on myself and put everything in the same area so that we can all be here when the grease starts popping. Now, I don't know if you've heard this, but this is how I test the oil. Is that I put some water on my fingers. Did you hear it popping? That means it's ready to go. So we're going to start with our first tortilla. It goes in there and it fries.
I hear one.
It's okay. Okay, so we're going to do this, and it's going to fry for a little while, and then we're going to take it and we're going to put it into the enchilada sauce. And then we're going to come back and we're going to do the same thing again. And we're going to put it in the enchilada sauce, and then we're going to plate it. And we're actually going to put it on a cookie sheet so I can cook them all at the same time. So, so I'm going to do this, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so you'll notice that when you start frying this, that the center of the tortilla will probably puff up a little bit, which is a good thing. It means they're fresh. So, but you need to make sure that they don't fall apart when you pick them up like that, and then you put them right in here. As you can see, it's a little bit messy.
Oh, they're thick.
But here's what I'm going to do, is I'm making 4 enchiladas today, so I am going to start with the bottom one. See how that one, I didn't do that quite enough. Here we go.
Can't put it back in.
Huh?
Can't put it back in.
You can't put it back in there. I've got the bottom layer here done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the hamburger. Hamburger. A nice layer of that.
And this is the boathouse that was at Sonora Castle.
Here we
That thing is
go.
150 foot tall. Full-length sailboats can go in it.
And then there's that. So now I've got the bottom layer of that. Then I'm going to add some onions. Onions.
It's like looking up.
Onions.
This one around, these are all pictures of it. You could have taken it.
And we can put some more meat on over here. We've got it, might as well.
This is all.
Okay, so we've got it basically, this is the bottom layer. Of course, it's missing the most important thing, which is the cheese. Cheese. Okay, so now we're going to take the cheese and we're going to do it like this, and like this, and like that, and like that. Okay. Now I am going to do the next layer, which is going to be exactly the same way. So I've got it going over here. So I've got this. Put it in there so it can soak. It gets to be an assembly line after a while. Okay, so then I've got that one done, so I'm going to take that and I'm going to put it on top of this one, like so. And that's what we're going to do with this whole next layer. So we're going to do a whole nother layer and we're going to put that on top of it. And then we'll be back when we get all that done to add the cheese.
No.
Okay, so basically now this is the first layer. So I'm only gonna put one more layer on. We've got a little bit more meat, so I'm gonna go ahead and use that up. And then we have some onions and we have some cheese. And then we'll put a topper on them, more cheese, more enchilada sauce, and then we'll throw them in the oven so that the onions can cook a little bit. Okay. Okay, so that's it, and I'm going to put one more layer on it. I'll be back to you when we get ready to put them in the oven. Okay, so here they are in all of their wonderfulness. And so what we're going to do first is we're going to take the leftover enchilada sauce, and we're going to pour it over them. Just a little bit. So it gets a little extra moisture there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add more cheese. You know, it's bacon and cheese. It's the best way to go. So we've got more cheese on here now. And the nice thing too is that if your tortilla seems to break, the cheese covers that up. People don't notice it when they eat them. So anyway, okay, so I've got that, and now I'm going to put the remainder of this over that. So it's nice and saucy. And then we're going to take them and we're going to put them in the oven so that all those raw onions can cook. So we're gonna put them in a 350 degree oven for about 15 minutes. There they go in. There you go.
You want to take a bow?
No, but we'll be back when they come back out because that's the best part. Okay guys, this is what they look like when they come out of the oven. They're gonna look even better when we put lettuce and tomato and onion and all sorts of good stuff on the top of it. We're gonna serve ourselves right now, and then we'll get back and show you what it really looks like when it's really done, okay? All right, here it is plated. We each have a half of one, Diney, and here are all the great things that we're gonna put on top of them. You can see that Wanda is filling her plate, and as Diney has too. And there's Larry. Has anyone tasted it yet?
Uh-huh. Right now, want to get me chewing?
Yeah, I do. Was it good? Is it good? Is it good?
Wonderful.
All right. Okay then. Okay, so here's the end of the meal.
Last bite.
I think everybody seemed to enjoy it. So, well, now it's all over but the shouting. And if you try this recipe, I hope it turns out as good for you as it did for us. I think it's time for a nap. Anyway, thanks for joining us for What's Cooking at the Martin. We'll see you next week.